open this. Got it. Open that wider. Yay! We are off and running. Up and running. Kgotso, that's what happens when you go away and leave us behind. In Gauteng, we throw all sorts of things into the mix so that life starts difficultly. Next time you go away on vacation, you must take us too.
It's been long since I opened my laptop. Maybe it's still shocking.
Welcome otherwise. Welcome to Plan of Action, together with my wonderful co-host here, Lerato. And yeah, we're going to kick off just asking you and speaking to you about value add. This is the time when you can brag, tell us about you and how successful you are becoming. So, Kgotso, I mean, just as a background, we met round about, I think Feb, was it? When you joined Value Add?
Yeah, last year Feb.
Last year Feb, yeah. Yeah, I'm still in 2021. I'm not quite transitioned to 2022. So it's Feb 2021, and yeah, tell us to kick off, who are you, and tell us about you joining Value
Add. Well, yeah, it's been quite an amazing experience for me. I mean, like you said, we met last year in Feb, and I think I just got retrenched at my previous job, and I was just trying to find my feedback. And yeah, we met, and you introduced me to Value Add, and initially it was supposed to be you hiring me, but I became a Value Edian. You gave me both actually, so I'm grateful for that. And I'm part of the work readiness course by Stacy, and which is actually one course that has helped me improve in terms of confidence, actually going to the workplace. And that has been really, really an amazing experience for me. And also I'm part of the Building Sales Relationships hosted by Atlas. And then recently I just joined the executive coaching by Brian. So for me, that has been really, really amazing. And I'm looking forward to what 2022 is all going to be about.
Nice. Lerato?
That's quite nice. From the transitioning of losing a job and getting into all those things that are related to a job, it's pretty good. It's pretty nice. So you sent us your highlight. I just wanted to know the words are powerful. Can I read it for you? It says, perceptual optimism is a force multiplier. For you, how does that resonate with you? Those are powerful words.
Actually, I think perhaps I should have corrected you. It was supposed to be a perpetual optimism as a force multiplier. So for me, how it resonates with me, like I said, I lost the job. I didn't know what I was going to do. I could have just stayed behind and said, this is the end of me and I'm just going to wait for another opportunity. But I had to be optimistic that if I keep on knocking on different doors, something was eventually going to come up. And that's something that I had to really perpetuate, because I was just not knocking on Value Add's door. I was knocking on different doors and trying to see if somebody might be willing to actually take me on and build on what I actually have, and also try to allow me to create something in my own space. And for me, being optimistic is really one key thing that I try to live by. If you're not really optimistic, I mean, days are not the same. Sometimes you might wake up and feel like, you know what, I don't want to be doing this today. But if you wake up with optimism, there's nothing that is actually going to bring you down. And that's really how this quote resonates with me. And if you look, I think optimism is really a South African thing. What I mean by that is, I think it's in our DNA, because if you look at, for example, people like Nelson Mandela, when they went to Robben Island, they were sent there to actually spend their last days. But eventually they came back because they were actually optimistic that eventually South Africa was going to open up again. And in the past, I think 1846 or something like that, people who were sent to Robben Island were sent there to spend their last days. It was people who had leprosy that were sent to Robben Island to eventually spend their last days there. So you can imagine that that was the picture that people had of Robben Island, but people like Nelson Mandela gave Robben Island a different perspective. It was a place of hope. Some even called it University of Life. And they came back. They actually made people realize that if you're optimistic, for me personally, that's what I saw when they went back. When they went to Robben Island, then came back, I saw that if you're actually optimistic about life, about anything that you're involved in, you're probably gonna multiply and actually get the best results out of it.
Oh, that's fantastic. I mean, that's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, the program's called Plan of Action. Hey, Lerato. So, you know, if you've just executed against what you said was your plan of action, having lost a job, you knocked on doors, you knocked on ValueEd's door, you found some courses that are still a year later, you know, fulfilling you, and you believe in this construct of optimism, which I think is very, very important. I think it's to your point. I think, you know, we are built on that in South Africa, considering our history and our past. That there's always hope in terms of a positive outcome. So yes, congratulations on that. Absolutely, Lerato. Hey, what else? What's your...
Okay, another one is that our theme for the month is starting the year strong. So that one, how are you starting your year strong?
Nice.
What's your plan for this year?
My plan for the year, it's really to just build on what I built last year. So I think there's really not going to be a lot of changes, but those small changes are actually going to make a huge difference. And I just, like I was speaking to Uncle Vic, I think about a week ago. There's a few things that I've asked him to assist me with to achieve this year. So that's basically what I want to do for the year 2022. I want to get more involved with people who actually look up to, people who I believe they've walked the road that I want to take. Yeah, I think that's how I'm planning to start my 2022 strong.
Nice. And we had a great chat about it the other day, and I think, you know, this thing of intentionality and courageousness were the two things, Lerato, that came to me in terms of starting the year strong. You know, be intentional. That's starting. And be courageous. That's strong, right? Because it's not about physical strength. It's about, you know, strength that is all enduring within all of us, which is the ability to rise to courageous positions. And then the other thing, or to courageous situations. And then the other thing is obviously making sure that there's some level of intentionality in terms of what you're doing. So there's no automaticness. And I think with what you've said earlier, you've got some very clear things that you've set yourself for the year. But just quickly before we end up, who is Kgotso? I mean, who are you exactly?
I'm a very simple guy.
We all are. We all.
Well, I was born in the northern province in Limpopo, and really I spent most of my time in the rural Limpopo. I went to primary school there. I went to high school there. I only came to Joburg when I was actually coming to study for my degree, and since then I've been in Joburg. I'm not really an outgoing guy. I like my space, and I like playing lots and lots of soccer. But for now, it's been really hectic with the COVID thing. But like before the pandemic, I used to play a couple of times in a week.
Oh wow!
Yeah, generally, yeah, I like I like engaging on different topics, especially stuff that I don't know anything about. I think there's always a room to improve in life in general. There's always a room for improvement, and that's really what I'm all about. I like getting into uncomfortable situations. Uncle Vic likes doing that to me, putting me in uncomfortable situations. So yeah, I like exploring, I like discovery, and yeah, that's pretty much who I am.
No, fantastic, fantastic. Arato, any last things?
The last things are that what would you say to Kgotso back then in high school? What advice would you give to an 18-year-old or a matriculant or anyone, even in grade 10? Because there's a lot of programs that we have. It's not only for the matriculants, but also for someone that's just in high school and sees this on Facebook and say, yo, this guy touched me. So what advice are the last words that you can give to that young one?
One advice that I would give with me, I think one thing that I regret not doing in high school was to actually try new things. I was more reserved. I didn't want to get involved in leadership or anything like that. And I think it's one thing that I would really encourage one to get involved in, because that's where you start building yourself. That's where you really get to understand what, well, for the most part, I think leadership is something that is very crucial in our society. If you get yourself in that position, you probably have an idea of where you want to go in life and how you want to go about it. And yeah, I think it's important to really get involved in anything that you think might be the route that you want to take in life. If you are interested in something, reach out, try to investigate, try to understand what it's all about, try to understand what it's going to take from you, and really always ask for assistance wherever you feel like you actually don't know where you're supposed to be going.
Fantastic, fantastic. Kgotso, you're an inspiration. You know, coming up to a year in Value Ed, you're continuously improving yourself, continuously learning. You're taking advantage of the courses and the sessions that are available in Value Ed, and you're rising. You're different to Kgotso, who was February last year to February this year, and that's just 12 months. Imagine what happens over the next 10 years. So carry on. You're marching in the right direction. We really, really consider you as a true value edian. And thank you for your participation and contribution to Value Ed. So, and we know you're going to make it. Hey, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So with that, no, it's a pleasure, man. With that, we'd like to say cheers, my man, and enjoy the rest of the Saturday. And thanks for coming through for Plan of Action. Meet the Value Edian. No, fantastic, fantastic. Thanks, my man.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kgotso.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a good one, huh?
Cheers. Bye.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.